Minnesota has been making some noise lately, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you all are familiar with the Minnesota Nurses Act Association. I'm sorry. For those of you who are not familiar, they're legislators over in the state. They have come up with a bill, an act, okay, that's been causing up a lot of stir, especially with the Mayo people, the Mayo Clinic. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar, but if you are not, you will be. And this is once again for all the people who say, CJ, you have no loyalty. CJ, it's not about the money. CJ, you shouldn't always talk about money. Well, I'm going to show you what happens when your employers says it's about the money. But let's start with this. Minnesota has presented a bill to the legislators called Keeping the Nurses at the Bedside Act. Now let's get into it. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm going to be looking down at my phone, but I'm going to be showing you the article as it presents itself on the screen. And I like to do it. Just keep it. I don't feel like messing with it. So I'll just keep it like that. And let's get into it. Put this on mute. It says nurses with the Minnesota Nurses Association, the MNA, and chief legislative authors today celebrated passage of the bipartisan Keeping Nurses at the Bedside Act. Okay. Now, the Keeping Nurses at the Bedside Act, I'm just going to tell y'all what it is designed to address the hospital short staffing and retention crisis. The conditions that the hospital CEOs have created are driving nurses away from the profession and hurting patient care. Chief author by Senator Aaron Murphy in the Senate has stated. Okay. So it's a bill that they came up with, and they are in hopes to keep the nurses at the bedside. Let's see what all goes into it. Let's see. It says if the Keep the Nurses at the Bedside Act is passed in the law, nurses will stay on and return to the job, and patient care will be improved. There is no shortage of Minnesota nurses who want to provide safe, high-quality care to their patients. There is a shortage of nurses willing and able to help under these conditions. Hospital CEOs making millions. Actually, this is a whole nother article that I just hit up to because I wanted to break down what this act actually was. Hospital CEOs making millions. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up so y'all can actually see that. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, I don't see the link on here, but I'll just keep it going like this. It says hospital CEOs making millions in compensation and benefits can afford to make changes to protect workers and put patients before profits. One more time, hospital CEOs making millions in compensation and benefits to afford changes and can afford to make changes to protect workers and put patients before profits, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So here's some more about the Bedside Act. It says established nurse staffing committees set to have adequate staffing levels. Minnesota hospitals already set staffing levels on hospital units, but current levels are unsafe, unsustainable, and nurses are walking out of the profession. We already know this. It says another one point in the bill they want to present is no more patients in an emergency department hallways. Okay. They don't want any more patients just sitting up in the ER hallways, taking up space because there's no more room in the hospitals, along with not having enough nurses, staff, period, to take care of the people. Okay, it said the conditions Minnesota patients are subjected to because of understaffing by the corporate healthcare executives are inhumane and unacceptable. KNABA will require the new staffing committees to create a plan to eliminate patient boarding in emergency departments without mandating that staff work increase hours to cover for hospital understaffing, asking nurses to do more with less. So, what that means is that they're asking nurses to stay over. They're trying to guilt trip them into staying over. They're already worked 12-hour shift, most likely, and work more for less. Again, nobody in their right mind is going to continue to do this, okay? So let me get back to the original thing. Okay, to this particular article. So I just wanted to make sure y'all understood what that was, right? And it says the Keeping the Nurses at the Bedside Act, it passes the Minnesota House and the Senate. So now the Mayo Clinic has a problem with that. So let me see if I can pull up that video. Y'all bear with me. And the lawmakers have something to say about it. And it's going to potentially, just for what they're asking for, the Mayo Clinic has threatened to potentially take out millions of dollars in investments, all because they're asking for a little bit more. So hold on, let me pull this up. Let me get rid of this real quick. Okay. So let me pull up the other one. They got to come up with a better system. So let's get into this. No, I want to take all day to load. Say they just ain't agreeing with a player tonight. Okay. I promise y'all it was working beforehand. Yeah, but the video's not loading. Hold on, let me go over some of y'all comments while it's trying to load. Let me see. That's what's important. If Trump made it, he got a chance. Let me see. Honestly, I have no loyalty to any hospital. Afterwards, St. Vincent Hospital in Newark. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What's going on, Finney? One more time in the building. All right. So let me see. All right. So let me try something else really quick. Let me try
the Mayo Clinic says they could possibly withhold significant spending on future projects in the state if changes aren't made to a key piece of legislation.
Yeah, this according to emails a Mayo Clinic official sent to lawmakers, and they were reviewed by 5 Eyewitness News and mentioned today.
Says they could possibly withhold significant spending on future projects in the state if changes aren't made to a key piece of legislation.
Yeah, this according to email a Mayo Clinic official to lawmakers, and they were reviewed by lawmakers. A little break issue in question.
Mayo Clinic, they say they feel the Keeping Nurses at the Bedside Act legislation does little to address change to recruit and retain healthcare workers. Today, the Minnesota Hospital Association says they too have serious concerns about the staffing bill. The bill's authors say they were caught off guard by this 11th hour request to make changes.
Caught off guard? How? How? But they see it's been in shambles for the last God knows how long. I mean, we talking about before the pandemic. It was even shorter before then. So how are you caught off guard about anything that's going on right now? But let's continue. But again, their campaign is patience over profits, though. But look at that word, profits. Okay? These are not nonprofit companies. These are for-profit companies, ladies and gentlemen.
Healthcare provider Mayo Clinic wrote they are deeply concerned about two provisions in the Health and Human Services Omnibus Bill in messages sent to lawmakers in the governor's office.
Deeply,
Based on emails reviewed by 5 Eyewitness News,
deeply concerned about their pockets. But some of y'all ain't. Y'all ain't.
Mayo wants the Healthcare Affordability Board removed and changes made to the Keeping Nurses at the Bedside Act. If changes aren't made, the email mentions Mayo possibly considering taking a, quote, enormous investment set aside for future development projects in other states.
They say, look here. y'all want to play this game? We just gonna pull out. We're just gonna pull out. If you do this, if y'all go through with this bill and try to get adequate staffing, more pay, we're just gonna pull out and go elsewhere. See, this is what I'm saying. Remember, I keep telling y'all, it has to implode first. Okay? Because again, they don't like losing money, but they're going to play hardball. Nobody said this was going to be easy. I never said it's going to be easy. Some people are going to fight a little bit harder than others. Now, these are just empty threats right now. Well, I don't think it's empty. I think they may follow through just to see if they going to keep up what they in. Okay? Shout out to Fally. And you know, I don't want no smoke with Mayo at all. I don't want no smoke with them. I ain't got no problem with them. But I'm just trying to tell nurses that y'all need to play the game y'all way. They're going to play the game their way. And we can both come together and figure out how we're going to handle business for it. I don't got no smoke with Mayo. You dig what I'm saying? None. But I'm just trying to keep it real. Let me see. The Mayo Clinic is evil. I understand business. I understand how business works. I just want nurses to understand how business works. Sometimes we got to stop being so naive and take our feelings out of it. This is about profits, ladies and gentlemen. And nurses should be about their profits and be more open about it. There's nothing wrong with going to the CEO. You know what a CEO told me straight up? When he sold all his nursing homes here, he had like a chain of them. And I said, Mr. Such and Such, what make you want to sell? You know what he told me to my face? He said to my face, he said, the money. The money. I don't know what else. He told me to my face, and I knew what time it was. Because they have no problem telling you what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to keep saying it because I want y'all to be able to play the game by your rules. Because it's already unfair. And that's cool. And I want y'all to getting into it. But again, this thing is still beautiful. You can make your own rules to it. That's the beauty about this game. You dig what I'm saying? But I want you to see the whole chessboard and not go in blind. That's all right.
An email Dr. Amy Williams wrote in part, they previously raised concerns for months about the legislation, adding, the whole is legislation we believe will negatively impact access to care and our ability to transform healthcare to support our staff and meet the evolving needs of our patients.
This bill is critically needed. That when my spouse, my son, my parents, or my neighbors' friends go to the hospital, that they will have the high quality care that every Minnesotan deserves.
The Minnesota Nurses Association union backs the bill that includes changes for how nurse staffing levels are determined at hospitals. Also at Monday's Capitol press conference, Representative advised the bill's House author who says she was surprised to hear the hospital's concerns.
We worked with them extensively. All of a sudden, we were very surprised to hear their demands, as you've heard, at the 11th hour.
Senate Republican Paul Oakey reacted, calling out Democrats in part their efforts transform our once business-friendly state that fueled innovation and created one of the strongest economies in the nation into something that makes even the most loyal hometown businesses reconsider.
Cap. Now y'all know that's cap. Y'all know that's cap. What are they talking about? What is he talking about? This is how business works, and he knows that.
On Friday, Governor Tim Walz told reporters he hopes that a compromise can be struck that works for everyone.
Because my thing is, what's the real issue with the bill that they haven't? Because Mayo never said what our real problem is, and they're not going to say it. But what's the real issue? Well, we smart people here. We can put 2 and 2 together. How do you get, okay, what's the problem? We're short-staffed. Okay. Second thing, they're not getting paid enough. How do you attract more people to come into your hospital to come work for you and work for your company in this state, in the game? When nursing has been exposed for what it is, when the medical industry has been exposed for what it is, how do you do that? Well, this is what you do. You start paying them more. You start paying them more. That's pretty much, that's common sense to me. That's common sense to me. But this is more than just, because here's the thing, they don't want this to happen. And again, Mayo, I don't got no smoke with y'all. I have no problem with y'all. But they don't want this to happen because they see what I see. They see what I see. They know that nurses are on their way to really changing the rules, because you got to understand, whether people like to admit it or not, healthcare revolves around nurses. It really does. The heart and soul of healthcare is with nurses. And they have to, I've never seen an industry to where everybody and their mama has pocket watched the people who are in the actual industry. They don't pocket watch basketball players. They don't pocket watch NFL players. They don't pocket watch golf players, baseball players, boxing, and shout out to them. But if the boxer gets knocked out and can't wake up, who is the first person that they going to see? Where is the first place they're going to take that boxer to? The hospital. And if that boxer can't get adequate care and dies, you just in all lost $1 million investment. Let's just say, heaven forbid something happened to Tank, right? Something happened to Tank. Tank is on a roll right now. Javante Davis. He's on a roll right now. People have millions upon millions of dollars behind this guy. Let's say something happens to him in the ring, God forbid, and Tank don't wake up. Tank needs to get rushed to the hospital, to the nearest ER in whatever city he's in. Let's just say Minnesota. They don't do fights in Minnesota, but let's just say something happens to him in Minnesota. But the hospital they take him to, they don't got the staff. They don't got the staff to take care of Tank. And Tank is going to an emergency room with burnt out, tired nurses, and something happens to Tank and Tank don't make it. Now, not only have you lost a life, which is horrible, you've lost millions upon millions of dollars in investments. People who have invested. So it's a loss all around. So that's why when I say it's really a common sense thing, you dig? Like, I don't understand.